Hello everyone, this is TheCodMineMan here, and today I'm going to make an in-depth tutorial on how to defensive fly. This would be hopefully a 2 or 3 part series, one being defensive flying, another one being offensive flying, and one showing how to fly in a squad properly. Alright, let's get started. So the first maneuver, and probably one of the simplest, is called a split S. It's a very easy maneuver, but when performed right, is extremely effective. First, you must have altitude. If this maneuver is performed at a low altitude, well, let's just say the ground will be your biggest enemy. Speaking of the ground, always be careful of your surroundings, especially if you're in a plane prone to compressing. Always have an eye on the altitude indicator on the top left of your screen, because you never know how close you are to the ground. Anyway, back to the maneuver. This maneuver is useful when the enemy has more energy, more altitude, and more speed than you are. What you want to do is start off level, proposing an easy target, but start engaging the maneuver at around 1 kilometer away, or about 0.7 miles. You want to roll 180 degrees like I'm doing now, and then pull your elevator so that your nose points towards the ground. You then want to keep an eye on the enemy at all times and make sure he/she overshot. You then want to continue the half loop until you come up around where you have started. This maneuver is usually only useful to keep an enemy at bay, because after a while, if you do not have a sport, you will die. It's best to let your teammates and squad mates know you are in trouble. Here's a live example of my friend and I performing a split S. You can watch the targets by pressing X while looking at them, which selects them, and holding Alt. This will allow you to perform maneuvers while looking at the plane trying to kill you. Just a quick tip. There's one crucial part of defensive flying in War Thunder. Make sure you have your elevator up and down key binded. You can do that by going to Menu, Controls, and scrolling down until you see Pitch Access. I have mine set to Shift and Control. You can set it up to your best ability. Also, keep in mind different planes are better at doing different things, so don't think all of these work for every plane. I'll try to touch on what plane works better with different things, but feel free to ask me how to fly a certain plane in the comments below. This is mainly a prop-driven plane tutorial because most people who are looking for how to fly defensively are just starting out. The second maneuver I have for you today is called pulling in. At least, that's what I like to call it. It's pretty self-explanatory, and works against most energy fighting planes. This one has a similar scenario to the first one. The player is diving on and has more energy and is coming at you quite fast. You need to make sure the player diving on has a very different energy state than you are, and is going a lot faster than you, or else they will not overshoot, stay on your 6, and kill you. This maneuver makes the shot difficult for the player diving on you, and allows you more time to perform something else. This maneuver is also similar to the split S because it keeps them at bay, while you can tell your teammates or squad mates that someone is in fact diving on you. If done correctly, this can allow the enemy to become impatient, angry, and eventually lose patience and stay on your 6. At that moment, you both will have similar energy state, in which you can use your plane skills to outperform the enemy, or bait them for your team. Here's an example of Poodster and I performing this maneuver. You can see why it is frustrating for the enemy because it's very difficult for them to shoot you. Just make sure you do something slightly different every time, or else the enemy will catch on to your maneuvers and counteract them fairly easily. This maneuver is mostly used in planes that can turn more efficiently than others, like Spitfires, most Japanese planes, Bf-109s, certain later-tier American fighters, Yaks, and so on. Some planes that you shouldn't do this maneuver are planes with 2 engines that are heavy fighters/attackers, bombers, and large, slow planes. The third maneuver I'm going to show you today is more difficult, yet very effective. For this one, it is essential that you have altitude, or else you'll be kissing the ground. In this maneuver, you'll be using something called a snap roll, where you use rudder and aileron to snap your plane into an accelerated roll. Sometimes if you're comfortable with your flying skills and the plane you're flying, you can incorporate elevator. Anyway, onto the example. While Poodster dives on me, I wait for an opportune moment to do a snap roll. This is mostly personal preference, but I like to engage my snap rolls when the enemy is around 0.5 kilometers away. As you watch my plane, you will notice I'm not continuing this spin, just spinning 180 degrees in order to have my plane opposite of his. This allows a second escape route, because while they're facing one way, you're facing the other, and that can allow you to pull the elevator up going under his plane. But in this specific example, I continued to spin so that he would not get a good shot. The most important thing about this downwards corkscrew type tactic is that you need to make an extremely difficult angle for the enemy to shoot at you. This was a beginner's tutorial, so it did not cover more advanced defensive flying maneuvers. If you want a more advanced tutorial, please make me aware in the comment section below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.